Patricia, do you think we can start?
Well, we have quorum. Is the 805, 1805, is that Kathy O'Connor calling in on her phone?
It usually is.
Yes, it is.
Okie doke.
I'm trying to log in on my computer. I'm having problems.
Okay. Yeah, you know, I think we should wait a couple of minutes because we really do.
Okay.
Yeah. Tara, okay. Cornelia?
Yep.
We're down 3 senators, according to my count. Oh, nope, we're down 2 senators. Unless people are hiding between mysterious nom de plumes here.
And Christina, you're the host today, so I'll have you make the upcoming presenters co-host. Is that cool?
Sounds perfect.
Okay, cool. And Joy and Armando will be splitting the art presentation, so maybe you can start by making them both co-hosts.
Okay.
Start. Coolness. Excellent. Shall we start, Patricia, or wait longer?
We are missing one of our senators from social sciences and our senator from English. So we're down 2.
Okay.
Oh,
here.
I'm sorry. And one of our senators from sciences. Oh, there's English. There's Jenny.
And we're missing Ruth.
Yeah.
So we got Jenny, Ruth.
We're missing Ruth. And we're
Okay.
missing, oh yeah, I'm missing Jen Bettencourt. Yeah. Sorry,
Okay.
guys, this is not public shaming. We just really want everybody here for these
No, I was coming
hearings.
straight from a meeting with a student. And I'm like, I gotta go, Jen. One more question. Come on.
Yeah. Up to you, Madam President.
I say, let's go. I just texted Ruth. Robbie, can you text Jen Bettencourt?
Yeah, I'll do that right now.
Okay, cool. And we'll get started, and probably by the time we're ready for presentations, they'll have snuck in.
Okay.
Sound good? All right. So, hi, everyone. We will now officially call this Academic Senate meeting on October 21st to order. The time is 3:04. As a reminder, the Academic Senate has established for itself our community values. We will have a discussion item later on today, so we'll be working with those community values that we worked on together. We also have our Zoom meeting guidelines. We have relaxed a little bit from where we have been with establishing them. Today we have a number of presentations, but when we get into our discussion area later, just please remember to raise your virtual hand in the participants field, and please remember to keep yourself muted throughout the meeting unless you're talking. With that, it brings us to item 2.4, our land acknowledgement. Can I please have a volunteer to read it for us today? Let's see, pull my participants up. Anyone?
I'll volunteer.
Great, thanks, Robbie.
Before we begin, we would like to acknowledge the Chumash people, who are the traditional custodians of this land. We pay our respects to Chumash elders, past, present, and future, who call this place, the land that Santa Barbara City College sits upon, their home. We are honored to be guests upon this land and are proud to continue their tradition of coming together and growing as a community. We thank the Chumash community for their stewardship and support, and we look forward to strengthening our ties as we continue our relationship of mutual respect and understanding.
Thank you, Robbie. And of course, the fire alarm is going off in my house, so I stepped outside for a moment. Always interesting this year. All right, so the meeting agenda has been distributed to you, and unless there are any requests for changes to that, we will accept it as distributed. Brings us to item 3.1, time for public comment. No one requested public comment ahead of today's meeting, but if someone is here and would like to make a public comment for today's meeting, please raise your hand in the participants field now. And I'm not seeing any virtual hands raised or hearing from anyone, so we will assume that there's no more or no requests for public comments at all. Bringing us to item 4.1, the approval of our minutes. So we have two meeting minutes here, one from the September, oh, I'm sorry, it's incorrect on the agenda, but the document attached is correctly referenced. September 30th meeting minutes we will approve, and also October 14th. So hopefully you've had time to review those. At this time, is there anyone that has any suggestions for changes, edits to our previous two meeting minutes? Okay, so I'm not hearing from anyone. So at this time, we can accept the meeting minutes as distributed. So going quickly through our communications, the president's report for this week, I hope you took a second to peruse it. I'm not going to give an oral report on it. My report this week is just 3 reports from Patricia Frank. She has provided the BRAC meeting minutes. So BRAC is a district committee that goes over our budget and resource. So I think now you can appreciate more than ever this committee is of importance. So please take some time to review those reports. There's no Senate liaison report this week because we just had one last week. If any of our Senate liaisons would like to give a brief oral report, please raise your hand in the field, in the participants field at this time. If not, we can move on. I am not seeing that. Which brings us to item 5.3, the EVP. Dr. Ralston, do you have an oral report to provide today?
I do not, thank you.
Okay, great. And there was no request from the public for any items to be agendized at future meetings either. So with that, I will quickly move on to our information items. We have no consent agenda today. The first item is our guidelines. So sorry, Kit Kat emergency at the house. Today, the guidelines for our faculty ranking, they are the same as last week. Those documents are there. Item 7.2, this is one that I especially need our senators to take a hard look at. There are several APs going through BPAP right now, all having to do with the legal changes for Title IX. So this is specifically for AP 3434, responding to harassment based on sex under Title IX. So we don't have time to bring this forward as a discussion item unless senators feel strongly that it should be brought in back. Instead, if you could please reach out to your BPAP reps from Senate, which are myself, Chris Brown, and Patricia Stark, to go over any suggestions or comments or items that you have for us so that we can communicate them back to BPAP and bring them there. But again, if you do want to see this as a discussion item, please let me or somebody else know from Senate Steering. Senate Steering is myself, our Vice President, Robbie Fisher, Patricia Stark, our previous president, as well as our Senate liaisons. My last information item is a call for the Hayward Award, Excellence in Education. And with that, we will move on to our presentations. So first up for our presentations today is our representatives from ART. It's my understanding that we are going to have 2 separate presenters. The first will be Joy Kunz and then Armando Ramos will present as well. Robbie, they get a total of 12 minutes together. So with that, I will turn it over to Joy. Joy, if you'd like to screen share, you can do so at this time. I'll stop my screen sharing.
Can I ask a clarifying question before we start?
Sure.
Is this going to be one presentation with 2 speakers totaling 12 minutes, or is this breaking up into 2 6-minute presentations?
We have 2 presentations, 2 separate presentations.
Okay, 6 minutes each?
Right, correct.
So Joy, you want us to tell you when 6 minutes is up?
Sure, I think I'll be within that range.
Okay, great.
And
Thank
then what we've, just to keep things consistent, how about if I tell you when 5 minutes are up and give you a 1-minute warning?
Sure.
Okay.
Great. The floor is yours, Joy.
All right, thank you. I am Dr. Joy Kuntz, representing the art department today in our request to replace retiring art history professor Dr. Thomas Larson, specialist in non-Western art history and alumnus of SBCC. First, I want to talk about what art history does. Art history expands knowledge and appreciation of diverse forms of art produced over time from around the world. Art history educates students to think with informed historical perspective about art within its cultural contexts. The discipline of art history speaks to the psychologies, religions, identities, economies, technologies, and philosophies in visual cultures. Art history is a cornerstone subject area in the humanities at SBCC, and you can see from this selection of art pieces, it's just a small selection of what our courses cover. We want to keep art history as a cornerstone subject in the humanities at SBCC. So keep in mind, art history courses fulfill general education subject area requirements at SBCC and have a 91% fill rate. All art history courses are UC and Cal State transferable, IGETC Area 3A and CSU Area C1. Art history courses and series courses fulfill requirements for 9 different majors at SBCC. Art history is a part of the honors program at our college, and art history offers an AA degree for transfer and a certificate program that prepares students for careers in galleries and museums. We will not be able to meet the demand for courses without a replacement position. In our school, art history and art studio are combined for the art department, and we formed a synergistic balance. 2 art history instructors, represented here by the large elephants, 1 Western art and 1 non-Western art specialist, provide a platform for 5 studio art laboratories: drawing, painting, ceramics, printmaking, and sculpture, represented by the 5 ballerinas. We're asking you to preserve this synergistic balance. The art department has achieved this balance between higher enrollment art history courses and capped enrollment laboratory art courses to achieve a wish to FTEF of 467, higher than the average in departments at SBCC. Our FTES to FTEF balance depends on 2 full-time art historians. Dr. Larson offered instruction to 325 students per semester and 150 in summer session, bringing an annual average of 800 students through the art department. For comparison, 5 studio instructors together bring approximately 800 students through the art department annually. Consequences of abandoning the balance? Well, we drop the ratio of FTES to FTEF. We drop our wish to FTEF. The art department cannot support its art studio laboratories through internal enrollment balances. SBCC loses money, efficiency, and seeds students taking general education classes to other institutions. We also ask you to help preserve our multicultural range of courses. Currently, we offer education and critique across an impressive array of art. In moving towards more equity in education, it is imperative to expand student exposure to a variety of aesthetic standards and offer courses that mirror the diversity of the world in which we live. Currently, SBCC has one of the most diverse and robust art and art history programs in the California Community College system. Our goal is to secure current offerings and expand. I'd like to close with a comment from Wallace Liddell, one of our art history SBCC alumnus. He's an art writer and critic for Art Forum magazine, a very prestigious position. Here's his comment.
Hey, this is SBCC alumni Wallace Liddell calling in from my apartment in Brooklyn. Prior to my time at Santa Barbara City College, I had never studied art history. It certainly wasn't offered in my high school, and I didn't have any other opportunities to take it. And after studying it at SBCC, I transferred to NYU for a degree in fine art and art history. And today I make my livelihood writing about art for
1 minute.
the Art Newspaper and a few other publications. I have absolutely no doubt that I wouldn't be where I am without my time in Santa Barbara. It taught me how to look critically and how to think critically, how to value my own opinion, and most importantly, it's where I learned how to learn, which has absolutely carried me to where I am today. Thank you, and I hope you're having a safe semester.
Thank you for considering our request to replace a full-time faculty member in order to continue the 50-year tradition of art history at SBCC. Thanks.
Can I start, Robbie? Or
Yeah, go ahead.
okay. Thank you, Joy. That was excellent.
Go for it, Armando.
So I have a. Let's start.
Hello, we are presenting our need for a full-time faculty replacement in ceramics. As a department, we are a department, but really we run as several departments. So to give you an idea of the structure, each faculty member has a specialized skill and runs an entire lab. So Christopher Bates not only is responsible for all of the ceramics classes and teaching all of the ceramics classes, he also oversees the entire ceramics facility. So he has overseen the operation and maintenance of one of the best ceramics labs in the region, and SBCC has the only accredited ceramics program in the Santa Barbara area. And to give you an example of the extent of that work, in our ceramics lab, we have 26 pottery wheels, accessories, and a clay kneading station. Outside, there's a complete permanent kiln lab, 8 different firing kilns that are operated weekly to manage the huge volume of work that's created in all of the ceramics classes that he teaches. A complete raw materials glaze lab. In this lab, students explore the intersection of science and art. They are mixing their own glazes, and the amount of materials and the amount of management that this takes really does require a full-time faculty member. Even if we were able to ask an adjunct to do all of that extra work, we do not have access to adjuncts in our area. So where you see the pink circles are where we have MFA programs that would be generating an adjunct pool that we could pull from. So there are none in this area. What's the value of a ceramics education? Just some of our alumni. Deanie Dixon just received the MFA fellowship at UCSB. Ray Barsante is running the ceramics lab at UCLA. Lily Pond received a national award from NCECA, and that's just a couple. So why is ceramics important? As we bring the history of art into our studio art classes, the study of ceramics spans, and I don't think it's an exaggeration to say, every part of the world for every known part of human history. This is a ceramic statuette dated from 29,000 BCE. And I'm going to go through these quickly, but hopefully just visually you get an idea of the depth of ceramics in art history. Brian Roquefort exhibited at MCASB in 2019. to Rafa Esparza. This is his Adobe installation at our own Atkinson Gallery in 2018. He's on the artist board at the Hammer Museum and has been featured in the Whitney Biennial. Ceramics is popular, man. If you look on the upper left-hand side, that's a still from an exhibit at David Kordansky Gallery in LA just last year. We have a whole new clay studio, a craft clay studio that's opened up in Goleta, featured in the upper right. And I don't know if you guys watch HBO, but this is a recent article that's saying the Great Pottery Throwdown, which is right now on HBO, makes great isolation TV. So it's always been popular. And it's always attracted a lot of students, and it's attracted a lot of community members. The majority of our returning students enter the art department through ceramics, so we use it as a major recruiting tool. To lose the ceramics area from the art department could have dire consequences for the art department. Not only would we lose this major recruiting tool, but our upper level ceramics classes all require other classes in the art department as prerequisites. So we would really lose that demand on a number of other classes within our area. And really the reality of losing a full-time faculty member would mean running an unsustainable ceramics department and art department, not due to a loss of interest or importance. Chris Bates has run the ceramics lab for 25 years, filling his full-time load every semester, teaching only ceramics classes. And before him, Oscar Boucher ran the ceramics area for 30 years. That's 55 years of a ceramics history at SBCC. In the art department, we're adapting to this need for technology, but it's making it so clear how essential and valuable the skills that we get in the plastic arts and in classes like ceramics are. So students who work with their hands, they work with earth, they make connections between creativity and chemistry. They work in groups, coordinating shared spaces and loading kilns together. They have to plan several steps in advance for a desired outcome. And really importantly is they fail. You can't enter a ceramics class and make something beautiful. You have to really have learned experience with the material in order to succeed. We believe this kind of education is only going to become more and more critical as tech evolves, especially as we evolve with it. Ceramics for president.
Thank you, Joy. Thank you, Armando. And thank you, Stephanie, who's not here. I think we have time for one quick question. And if we don't have a question now, or if others have questions that they think of later, we do have that Google Doc that we'll share with you both for questions then. Does anybody have a question for our art colleagues? I think this means you guys are off the hook.
Ceramics for president.
Yeah.
For history for vice president. Vote. Vote. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate your time.
Oh, it looks like Robin Goodnow does have a quick question for you. Her hand just came up. Robin, very quickly.
Yeah, I debated for a few minutes about asking this question, but you're asking for two very different types of positions or in two different areas of your program. And I know that everybody's aware of the budget constraints. I know this is a horrible question to ask, but if you as a department had to prioritize one of these positions, do you have a sense of what it would be?
Both, as you can see from the presentations, both positions are pretty vital to the department. They both serve different kind of components.
Yeah, I know it's a horrible question.
Yeah, I would say, art history allows us to balance the financial component of how our department functions, but ceramics brings in a tremendous amount of students. I mean, just when people just hear the ceramics, when they just hear clay or ceramics or pottery, people just smile and people just take that class. And so it's one of those courses that Professor Christopher Bates has been, he's brought in, a ton of people. He's just a warm person, or just taking that discipline and making something with it. And I think they both serve something really strong for the department. So we haven't had the opportunity to decide which one we wanted to go with, but we're going to vote for both of them. So.
Okay, and we're about out of time.
Okay.
Thanks for that. And Robin and
you.
senators, we are going to be ranking the two art positions differently than other positions. We're going to be ranking them as if they're from different departments. In
Okay.
other departments where there's multiple requests, we'll be calling them request 1 and request 2. So the
That's good to know. That was exactly why I was asking the question, because I knew that for multiples, we would be choosing a 1 and a 2. So.
yeah, these ones will be designated as if they're different departments just because they're so unique.
Awesome, thanks.
Okay. So thanks again, Armando and Joy. It was great to see you.
All right.
At
Thank
this,
you.
thank you. Bye.
Right.
At this time, we're going to be moving on to Bruce's presentation for medical imaging. Christina, could you please make him a co-host? And
Hold on.
thank you. And Bruce, would you like to drive your own slides or would you like me to drive your slides?
Can you hear me? Yes?
Yes.
Okay, I will drive my own slides. Thank you.
Great. You
Dr.
should now
Napoleon.
have permission to share your screen.
Okay.
And Robbie, Bruce is requesting, I believe, I just had it up, 1 position, so he'll have 8 minutes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and just so you know, Bruce, the standard that I've been doing is 6 minutes and then a 2-minute warning and then 2 more.
Okay, I'm almost ready. I'm sure you can see my PowerPoints. I'm just looking for one last page. There we go. And let me minimize this down. Okay. So may I begin?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, great. Well, thank you for the opportunity to come and talk to you again about a replacement faculty position due to a failed search that occurred last year. What I'd like to go to is that our failed search was due to the COVID pandemic. We had interviews lined up and the applicants decided to pull out at the very last moment. So just to give you a little background on why this is a very important process for us to have the opportunity to search for another applicant. So I would be remiss if I did not provide you information on the mission of the radiography program, and I will cite that the mission of the associate's degree science program in radiologic technology is to educate students in becoming competent entry-level technologists, having the technical knowledge and procedural abilities to serve the needs of a very diverse population, ethically, compassionately, and while continuing to inspire continuous learning. The program itself has over a half-year century of producing these entry-level technologists with the knowledge, skills, and ability. The job placement, our program effectiveness data, which is required by our accrediting board, requires us to provide the five-year job placement. And as you can see, over the past 5 years, from 2015 to 2019, we have an average placement of 96% of our students, and that would be 128 students out of 134, procuring a position in the field within a year. Majority of them have been hired within months of graduating from our program. Our student graduates are in hospitals throughout the counties, clinics, and also imaging centers. I will say that there are students recently that moved up to Washington to fight the pandemic. I have students back, or graduates, that have gone off to New York, many other states, and also abroad. The Employment Development Department of California performs an employment and wage survey. And as you can see, that a 2-year associate's degree in science with a certificate in radiography, that graduates will come out having the opportunity to have a livable wage. You can see that the average wages in the 3 counties combined, San Luis Obispo County, Santa Barbara County, and also Ventura County, the average wage is about, annual wage is about $70,000. And once again, we're talking a 2-year associate's degree in science and a certificate in radiography. That's quite good. Nationally, the Bureau of Labor Statistics predicts that there will be a need of about 17,000 technologists by 2029. They also state that it's an increase of over 7% and that it is faster than average. For us, our wait list extends out through 2024. Currently, we have about 165 students on our wait list. These students are ready to get into the program, and with the opportunity to further increase the number of students in the program upon having the opportunity to find a replacement faculty member, the program will be running at its close to capacity, about 30 students per year. Now, the history of the program dates back 51 years. We have been continuously accredited by the Joint Review Committee on Education and Radiologic Technology. We do have a 8-year accreditation currently, next site visit being in June of 2026, but that is in jeopardy. Currently, after a former colleague moved on, I now assume the responsibility of the chair, and everyone's familiar with the Administrative Procedures AP 7220 and all of that which is required. In addition, from our accrediting board, I'm required to perform this shortened list of duties. And a big aspect of it is the assessment and institutional programmatic data that has to be collected year over year. At the very bottom, you will see that we are also registered with the state of California, and there are requirements that have to be fulfilled for that. Since my former colleague moved on, I have assumed also the coordinator's position and all of the responsibilities that are associated with that in addition. Now to the important aspect of why it's so important to be provided the opportunity to search for a replacement faculty member. Our accreditation, as I've stated before, runs 51 years. Standard 2.2 in the standards for our accreditation requires that
2 minutes.
we provide an adequate number of faculty members to meet the educational, program, administrative, and accreditation requirements. This is not being fulfilled currently. Standard 2.2 further explains that a clinical coordinator is required if we have more than 5 active clinical sites. For your information, we have clinical sites spanning San Luis Obispo County, Santa Barbara County, Ventura County. Currently, we have 14 clinical sites that I have to oversee and perform some of the work for that. Lastly, Standard 2.2 does state that I myself, as the program director, am not able to be identified as a coordinator. The department cannot run with one individual. Personally, it's not humanly possible for me to assume the responsibilities of the chair, of the director, and also of the coordinator for this program. In summary, we had a failed search due to COVID. Secondly, the Joint Review Committee, Standard 2.2, requires that we have an adequate number of faculty to support the program. That requires a full-time equivalent clinical coordinator. And in addition, the program director, myself, cannot be identified as the coordinator. Lastly, I'd like to leave you with that our graduates from our program are frontline workers. They are currently out there battling the COVID pandemic. My last slide here, technologists are essential members of the healthcare team, and they are, and even our students are interning at these sites currently, so that we can support the war against the current pandemic. Thank you. Any questions?
Thanks so much, Bruce.
Right on time.
With a lot of fumbling initially.
Mm.
It is what it is.
So with that, Bruce, we have a shared Google Doc that I will send you the link to, should any of our senators be adding questions there for you.
Very good.
Great.
Thank you everyone for your time.
Thank you. Okay, so with that, we're moving on to Student Health and Wellness presentation by Laura Ferris. Christina, if you could make her a co-host as well, perfect. And Laura, would you like to drive your own slides or would you like me to?
I think I can do it.
Okay, great, perfect. And Robbie, while you're getting that set up, Robbie is our timekeeper. So you have 8 minutes to present. So he sets his alarm for 6 minutes. So when
Right.
it goes off, he'll let you know that you have 2 minutes left, okay?
Thank you. Can you see me?
Yes.
All right. Hello, everybody. I'm Laura Ferris. I am the voice of Student Health and Wellness today, and I'm here to ask for one faculty replacement for the position of Director of Student Health and Wellness, which is my position. I will be retiring. Student Health and Wellness provides student-centered medical, mental health, and wellness services which value social justice, human dignity, and respect for all. Healthy students and a healthy campus are integral to student learning and student success. That I'm enjoying the history of everybody's program, and 30 years ago, the Student Health and Wellness was a one-room, one-nurse office under the cafeteria. We now provide services to over 6,000 students a year, and we serve all SBCC students. We play a vital role in public health issues that affect our campus and community. And I truly believe that continued leadership to meet the demands of the future is imperative in finding another director of student health and wellness. Our data from our electronic medical records and our well data show that we, in the calendar year 2019, we served 6,356 students. Just a little snapshot of medical and counseling. I want to point out under medical, number one, right now, the college asked us and we stepped up, and our nurses are doing all the healthy rosters screening for students who are coming on campus. And number three, on counseling, we're just rolling out, you might see an ad today for after hours crisis screening and support for students we see the increased needs for students right now during the pandemic, and we're reaching out to meet that need. You probably, most of you know about the well. It actually hasn't been up even 2 years yet, but it's our freestanding wellness clinic. And pointing out a couple of great things we're proud about is we're doing naloxone training and distribution. 2 weeks ago, we served 85 students and they all got their Narcan. And then we're also providing hygiene kits every week at the food distribution with hygiene articles and menstrual care products. We're all aware of the public health crises that have affected our campus and our lives. In the last 6 years, there's been meningitis in Isla Vista. We had a student with active TB on our campus. And now here we sit in our Zoom meeting because of the global pandemic we're all dealing with. And student health plays a role in providing support and services to our campus. We know about college health issues that our students face. Every 3 years, we do a student survey that's part of the American College Health Association National College Health Assessment. We do that every 3 years. We did that survey in spring 19. And it's a little data from that survey, but number one shows us that 54% of males, the last time they partied, had 7 or more drinks. And the last, number 5, shows that 39% of students reported that stress negatively impacted their academic performance. And that was, we designed programs and services related to this data. And this is data from before the pandemic. This position is funded solely by the student health fee, and no general funds are expended. It does have regulatory requirements. Title V requirements say that the director should be a full-time position. It must be a nurse with a master's degree and a public health certificate. When you are considering senators, the replacement position, some things to remember about student health is that we definitely have an impact on student success. Health creates capacity. Students whose health status is positive and flourishing have greater ability to learn and engage fully in all meaningful educational experiences inside and outside the classroom. That this position is like Bruce's position, it's under some state regulatory demands. And that the program must comply with these regulations. One of the things that I really have enjoyed about my job in the last 9 years is that it's a program that demands programmatic innovation and responding to things that are going on and changing in the world around us. We have public health challenges. Our students right now are suffering from the challenges of remote learning, and we have a huge increase in counseling appointments right now. In the future, climate change will affect our lives and students' lives and community health. Hopefully, when we're back on campus, we will provide a community gathering space where we can provide support like we do at the Well for students and staff and faculty. And this new leader will need to seek out new funding sources and community partners for the future. I'm proud of the work we do and all the ways we touch all corners of our campus and our community. From the direct services that we provide students to all of you have probably sent a student our way or walked them to our office or filled out a bit report. We go into classrooms and make presentations to the athletic department. And then we team up with our community partners. We work very closely with UCSB. Santa Barbara Neighborhood Clinics provide sexual health services on our campus. Last year, we had a great STI sexual infection disease test-a-thon where we tested 67 students in 2 days. We work closely with Cottage Hospital. And then we're also connected to our state and national organizations. I'm the Region 6 rep for the Health Services Association of California Community College. And we partner also with the American College Health Department and do the survey and get that data. I know that we all will face challenges ahead, and our students will too, and they will depend upon the students of student health and wellness to finish their academic plans. Climate change, cultural and economic racism, infectious diseases, basic needs, and burgeoning mental health demands are just a few of these challenges. And student health will need a leader to lead the way and bring innovative ideas into our campus and into our future. Thank you. And I actually have time for questions.
Thank you so much for that presentation. Patricia.
I hope this question doesn't sound a bit too much like heresy, but when I was going through the requirements for this position, I didn't see that it needed to be faculty. Is there any reason that this position has to be a faculty position and could not be either an educational administrator or a classified manager?
There is no requirement. There are many student health director administrators at other California community colleges.
That's time.
Oh, okay. I'll put in the written document the advantages and disadvantages of each motto. Ask
Thank
about that.
you.
Thanks for that, Patricia. Yeah, and I just shared out the link again to the document, should anybody have questions. And Laura, I will link the document to you too as questions come in for you.
Okay, thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
you.
Bye.
All right, so let's see here. Next up on today's presentations, we have theater arts, and I see that both Katie Laris and Patricia Frank are with us. So am I to assume you both are presenting, Katie and Patricia?
Yes,
They're
we'll
both
both be presenting and Pat will be driving.
Okay, great. And I see Christina just made Katie a co-host. Christina, can you also make Patricia Frank a co-host so she can drive? Okay. Share her screen. Excellent. So Patricia, you should be able to share your
Yep.
screen.
I am able to.
Okay, great. And you all are requesting one position. So you'll have a total of 8 minutes. Robbie is our timekeeper, so he sets his alarm for 6 minutes to allow for your 2-minute warning. Sound good?
It does. Thank you. Thank you so much, Ray. And thank you to all of us, to all of you really for listening to this presentation. My name is Katie Laris. As Ray said, my colleague and I, Pat Frank, will be presenting for this acting and directing replacement position. We really hope that with so many incredibly important faculty positions that are needed on this campus, this won't feel like a waste of your time. We are aware of the budgetary strictures that we're all facing, and we wanted to, though, take this opportunity to just tell you a little bit about how theater functions as a vital part of this campus and the opportunities that we've been able to provide to our students, both on stage and after they left Santa Barbara City College. We also just want to testify to the incredible importance of theater. And here's our presentation. How do you like it so far?
Beautiful.
The faculty position. We've had 4 full-time faculty members for decades. Each faculty member has specialized roles that address different areas: acting, directing, development of drama, scenic and lighting design, costume and makeup design. Every one of us brings real-world experience to their work with students. Katie worked as a television producer and writer in New York City for 15 years and assisted on Broadway and in regional theaters.
Pamela Shaw was the assistant costume designer for the Academy Award winning movie, The Artist, and worked in the film and TV industry for many years. Pat Frank has designed in the local professional venues, lighting Hillary Clinton, Melissa Etheridge, and Olivia Newton-John when they appeared locally. TA faculty's other job. Full-time faculty not only teach classes and manage administrative work, full-time faculty run a theater company that completely produces 5 professionally mounted shows a year and a one-act play festival. Through the productions, we bring more than 13,000 community members to campus every year. Part of our work is interacting with potential donors and the press. We generate numerous positive press articles and reviews for the college.
Faculty workload. In order to produce 5 productions and a one-act festival, we typically work 6 or 7 days a week, starting early in the morning and working until after 10 p.m. for each faculty member involved. That schedule is our schedule for 10 months a year. Along with our courses, we work alongside our students in both acting and technology.
This dedication pays off. We have a high transfer rate, and many of our students go directly into the workforce in various positions, ranging from Broadway to television to film, and like the student from earlier in this presentation, Toby, to Google. He told us he was hired specifically because of his theater degree. What theater does best? We create community. More and more evidence, as Laura said, has emerged during this time of COVID that demonstrates the essential need for human interaction to our students' mental and emotional health. Our students become part of our family, and they thrive in that intentional community.
Before the recent downturn in out-of-area and international students, our program attracted students from all over the world who had heard about this theater department and wanted to be part of it. We believe that when we emerge from the pandemic and our national political situation, we will be able to restore that enrollment. Final considerations.
2 minutes.
This position is for an acting teacher and director. Because of the workload described above, this is a position that needs to be a full-time position. In Santa Barbara, there are not qualified teachers that can fill this role.
Our objective is to hire a faculty member that will further our goal for increased equity, diversity, and inclusiveness. We believe that theater is a vital and creative part of our college and the community, and that replacing our retiring faculty member is essential to fulfilling our mission.
Thank you very much for your considering this request, and we hope we'll see you in the future at the theater.
Thank you so much. Does anyone have any questions for Pat or Katie? You might be off the hook, although I said that last time and we had a last minute hand raise. So we do have a shared Google document should any of our senators come up with questions for you after the fact. And thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks.
All right, so next up is Shauna Sweeney. And Shauna is from the HIT department. And Shauna, you're now a co-host. So if you'd like, you can share your presentation yourself and drive, or else I can do it for you. And you are requesting 2 positions. So you'll have a total of 12 minutes.
Okay.
And Robbie is our timekeeper. So what he does is he'll set his timer for 10 minutes. So that as it goes off, he'll give you your 2-minute warning, and then you can finish up, or we'll have a few minutes for questions. Sound good?
Sounds great. And I can run my own presentation.
Yep, perfect. Thanks.
All right. Well, hi, everybody. My name is Shauna Sweeney, and I am the department chair for HIT CIM. And for those of you that don't know what that means, that is Health Information Technology and Cancer Information Management. So I just want to thank everyone for being here today, allowing me to present. I know what trying times we're in and where we're at with the budget. And just listening to all the presentations over the last couple of weeks, everything is important. All the positions are important, and I know what a difficult decision it's going to be. So thanks again. Today we are requesting 2 positions in our department. So just a little bit about our department. We are entirely online, so you will see us on flex days. And Janet randomly because she lives in California, but we are off campus. We've been online since 1999. So our department consists of 4 different programs. All of our programs have a premier reputation in the healthcare industry. Our programs prepare students to work in a variety of roles, so many that we couldn't even list them all the positions our students have taken in the past within different medical facilities. So our Cancer Information Management program offers both a degree and a certificate. Our Health Information Technology program is a degree program. Our Medical Coding Specialist is a certificate. And another certificate in our program is Healthcare Data Analytics. So all of these programs have a related national exam that the students can sit for. Students can only sit for these exams if they've graduated from an accredited program. So the positions that we are seeking replacement for, the first one is Lynette Williamson. She resigned in July of 2019. Lynette was the medical coding program director, and so she handled all the accreditation requirements for that program. I have been serving in that position since her departure. The second one, and also besides the chair and the coding program, I am also the program director for the Healthcare Data Analytics program. So Janet will sadly be retiring in June of 2021 under the CERP program. She is our very important HIT program director. She handles all the accreditation requirements for that program. And she just successfully completed a very extensive reaccreditation visit that happens every 10 years. So kudos to her. So when Janet retires this summer, we will be left with 2 full-time faculty members and 17 adjunct faculty. So the 2 people left are myself. I have HIT credentials, and then our CIM program director, Dr. Shirley Jordan-Say. She holds CIM credentials. So that's what will be remaining. All right, so in the fall of 2019, we had 750 students who had declared majors in HIT and CIM across all our programs. Most of our students, 94%, are California residents, but as I said, we have been online since '99. We do have students all over the US. In fall of 2019, we had students in 21 other states. Also in the fall of 2019, we had 903 unique students occupying 1,392 seats in our courses. And it's important to note that not only HIT CIM majors will take our courses, we do have many other students such as ADN or our X-ray students. They do take some of our courses like medical terminology, pharmacology, pathophysiology, just to name the most common ones. Our percent of adjunct TLUs has gone up from 63.1% in the fall of 19, up from 48% in the fall of 17. 10 of our courses are taught exclusively by adjuncts. All right, so what's the impact for, I'll start with our HIT program. So this is 2 positions, HIT and then medical coding specialist. So for our HIT program, it's really important to note that our accrediting body does state that we have to have a full-time faculty member with either an RHIT or RHIA credential in order to be program director. And our accreditation could be in jeopardy if Janet is not replaced, as CAHIM, which is our accrediting body, standard 16 states a minimum of 2 full-time individuals must be dedicated to the program, a program director, and a full-time faculty member. If we lose our accreditation, our graduates will not be able to sit for the RHIT examination, which they can take upon graduation from an accredited only program. So if they can't take that test, obviously they will not enroll in our program, as that is often a prereq for employment in most positions of our industry. So this position, Janet's position, as I said, is responsible for completing all HIT specific accreditation, the reports, the annual update, training and evaluating our adjunct faculty members, and leading adjuncts in course maintenance and curriculum. Her position ensures that our HIT curriculum is current and aligned with our accreditation body standards. And I'm proud to say that our RHIT exam, which again is for HIT graduates, is consistently over 90% successful. And just to give you kind of a baseline, the national average on that test is in the 70s, 70%. So ours is significantly higher than that. Janet also teaches our HIT capstone or our practicum class. That is a class that requires students to go out on site to hospitals and get experience and knowledge in the real world setting. So because of that, we have to have a contract with every facility that the students go to. And because we have students all over, we have contracts all over the state and all over the nation. Janet generally does contracts with 30 to 40 different facilities every semester. Facilities also, probably similar to some of the other programs that their students are on site, request different things like drug screens, background checks, immunizations. Janet has to coordinate all that and make sure that the students have everything completed, all of that done prior to going on site. So, all right, now our medical coding specialist program. And that program director really has similar duties like accreditation reports that need to be done every year, ensuring the curriculum is up to date, mentoring adjunct faculty members, and then also teaching a capstone course for the coding program. Full-time faculty in this program needs to have multiple very coding specific credentials. And I'm proud to say for our coding program that we were recognized in 2020 by Intelligent.com. There was a SBCC press release that you may have saw as one of the best programs, coding programs in the United States. We are the only AHIMA, PCAP, and I know those are all just don't mean a lot, but that's our approval body, regionally accredited coding program in the state of California. And there are only 29 in the United States. So students can go to the AHIMA PCAP website and search for an approved program. They can then see which programs are online. And so just to give you a baseline of how many programs are out there. So obviously we faced a lot of challenges, just like a lot of the other people mentioned. We're already down one full-time faculty with the loss of Lynette in 2019. Current full-time faculty are on overload, and all of us have program director duties for one or more programs. And I, as I said, am the department chair on top of those, some of those duties as well. The HIT program, the medical coding program, they both have rigorous accreditation requirements. They consume a lot of time. Our coding program requires faculty to have multiple coding credentials and really in-depth knowledge of both inpatient and outpatient coding systems. Because of that, it is difficult to locate qualified adjuncts. All of our current coding adjuncts are working in the field. They're at well-paid positions.
2 minutes.
Thank you. So it's hard to pull those people away that are very, very busy already and are high-level people to work as an adjunct and overload their plates already. And we can't just take entry-level people to teach our students these very important skills. So they have to be the higher level, higher paid individuals. The healthcare field is growing and changing at a very rapid pace. So what that means for us, all of our courses need to be updated very frequently, and that falls onto the shoulders of the full-time faculty. Our accrediting body also says that they don't want to see caps over 30 in our classes, especially coding. So that impacts how many sections instructors can teach and if we're on overload. So in conclusion, we would like to hire a full-time faculty member that has dual credentials. The CCS, CCSP, those are coding specific, and also along with an RHIT and RHA. And that's fairly common that people would have both of those if they do have a coding credential. The HIT program director needs to be a full-time faculty member, as stated before by our accrediting body. And if that doesn't happen, as I said, we may be in jeopardy because KHIM has stated we must have 2 individuals dedicated, a program director, and a full-time faculty member. So they've separated that out into 2 people. Keeping that accreditation is critical to ensure students can sit for the RHIT exam and therefore become employable. A recent workforce study was conducted by our national organization, and it was determined nationally that HIT programs could implement 1 or both specialty tracks. We have chosen to implement both for fall of 2021, and those are going to be revenue management and data management. So the work that it will take to redesign courses, create new courses to meet those tracks will require extra work on top of our already full schedules. So thank you. And lastly, I was just going to say our program, all of our programs lead to skilled graduates in the community for really in-demand jobs. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Shauna. Even though we don't have time for questions, we do have that shared Google Doc that our senators have access to. And should they have questions for you, I will link you to that document to answer them. Sound good?
Perfect. Thanks so much. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks for sharing today. So with that, our next presentation is journalism with Patricia Stark, our very own. So Christina will make you co-host Patricia, but do you want to do your own presenting or do you want me to bring up your slides? Patricia, I think you are muted.
I will do my own presenting, and I'm waiting to be able to share my screen.
Yep, I think Shauna's just closing out now.
Okay. Okay, let's try it now. All right.
And Patricia,
can everyone see the?
Yep.
Can everyone see the presentation? All right, let me just get this in a present mode. Press my own stopwatch here. Okay, hello everybody. I have sat in this space with all of you and heard compelling narratives from several departments about why their faculty positions need to be replaced. My presentation will be somewhat different. I will be arguing for the very survival of the journalism department. I will try to make the case that without my position being replaced, the journalism department will face immediate program modification and eventual discontinuance, and why this would be an irredeemable loss to our college. Sorry, the asthma's cropping up here, not a good time. I hope to show you that the nature of this position requires that the faculty member have the protection of full-time status and tenure. That replacing this position enables SBCC to continue the legacy of an entirely student-produced news site and the only widely distributed, legally protected student voice at Santa Barbara City College. And finally, I hope to demonstrate that while we are expensive, this program is productive compared to our peer programs statewide. And I hope to explain to you what the college gets in return for its investment. Please read carefully the written proposal that we've submitted. It begins with 3 real-life instances where students took on challenging stories and needed the guidance, support, and the defense of their faculty advisor. The threat of censorship and legal retaliation for journalism students is real and constant. This is not the kind of pressure that any adjunct faculty member, no matter how brave or how competent, could withstand. I'm trying to make you guys disappear so I can see my own screen. It's important to note that the Channels was established as a First Amendment community forum publication. This is actually a legal designation that means that our students have editorial independence, theoretically protected by law and by the carefully developed structures of the program and consistent practice. Our journalism students have used that voice aggressively and responsibly for 63 years to represent their perspective on major campus decisions. I show you as an example a recent editorial where our students tell you what they think about faculty sleeping with their students. They don't approve. Okay. So other than the fact that the only full-time faculty member in the department is retiring, what is the justification for changing and destabilizing this department? I don't really believe there is one. Also, our college has well-defined policies and procedures that address program disruption, and the primary mechanism for those decisions is our program review. So I'm going to present 2 slides to you that show only 2 of multiple measures that we included in our most recent program review, only last fall, that shows that we are a vital program. The first slide is our success rates across, first off, our intro classes, and then all of our channels classes. 100% productive across the board. This is a program where students are deeply, deeply engaged. And then I would like to show you the responses to what we are doing in our department to achieve equity. And there are 2 quotes on the screen, and I'm hoping that you'll take a minute to read both of them. This is a vital concern for journalism because the American news media has always been a monolithically white structure, and we are now engaged in the reexamination of all our values, processes, and hiring practices. In the next 3 slides, I'll try to show you why the official program load of the Student Media Advisor is incompatible with adjunct staffing. The media advisor position is by NTCC description loaded at 13 TOUs. These 4 items are only part of a very long job description that I have hyperlinked to my proposal. We know that the maximum load for part-time faculty is 10 TLUs. So should my position go away and we have to replace with adjuncts, by the way, which are wholly unavailable as UCSB does not have a journalism department or offer a degree, we would be forced to either reorganize the program to shrink it, or we would have to hire multiple adjuncts, and both options, I think, would jeopardize program stability. It would also put SBCC outside the norm of community college journalism staffing in the state. I'm going to refer a couple of times in this presentation to a survey done by the Journalism Association of Community Colleges. Happily for me, they did an intensive content review in spring 2020 of all of the participating programs in the state, a total of 44. And what they put in their final report is that there are 5 newspapers that do staff their newspapers with multiple adjunct faculty members. These are by far not the standout programs in the state. Not a single college uses one part-timer as its advisors, and the remaining 36 colleges employ either one or more full-time faculty members as their media advisors. So let's talk about productivity and whether the SBCC journalism department delivers on the college's investment. Again, I'll reference this JACC survey taken in the spring that shows that we ranked first in the state for our coverage of campus governance. Transparency, I am happy to say, has emerged as a value at all levels of our college. And our program has long played an integral part in providing that transparency, and we hope to do so. The Channels has also done a sterling job of telling the other stories of SBCC, the joyful ones of success and accomplishment, and the heartbreaking ones of loss and tragedy. Before you are the JACC's rankings of how our program compares with other colleges, many of them twice our size in terms of campus coverage. One of the key skills that we teach our students is how to get their stories read, a process called search engine optimization. And again, the Channels was cited as a model for its online readership. I just want to draw your attention to the last 2 bullet items, which shows we have a high readership in Scandinavian countries, an area for which we are trying to recruit students. I'm running out of time here, so I'm going to walk quickly through these. This slide shows that we actually have student staffs that are larger than the state averages. This is a picture of our crowded newsroom. I also want to point out that the loss of repeatability forced us to break 3 repeatable Channels classes into 12 separate sections, and this devastated our department's fill rate. And all of our support classes fill to the cap. I'm going to go ahead and close on this slide, and I'm a little over time, but I'm going to give you a minute to read it. It's from the UC Berkeley alumni newsletter, which came in my mail this week, and it talks about the importance of journalism in the world today, from the rapid unfolding of COVID-19 to the widespread fury after George Floyd's death. At this moment, we are faced with a rampant rise of disinformation, attacks on the press at the highest level of government is fake news, and the need to transform journalism so that the revealers of truth and injustice reflect the true diversity of America. This is our Channel staff in our newsroom. And I just want to ask you at this time, at this moment in history, do we want to make a decision to destabilize our journalism program? I realize this is a Solomon's choice, and I hope I have been able to convince you that if we don't, we have suffered an irreparable loss. Thank you.
Thank you, Patricia. Robbie, do we have any time for questions?
No, I'm sorry, we don't.
Okay. And Patricia, you know about the document. So
I do, and I'm eager to respond to anybody's questions. I know there's a lot of information that I couldn't cover, so put them in there.
Excellent. Thank you, Patricia. And next up we have biology, and I'm not seeing Jen Moppin unless I'm missing something, but I did see Peter Aguilar.
He's here.
Jen's here?
Here.
Oh,
I can see the spider on her wall.
ugh.
Hey.
Okay, I'm sorry, Jen. I didn't see you. Thank you. Glad you're here.
I don't have access right now.
There you go. You should have it now.
Oh, okay. All right. Make it full screen.
And Jen, Robbie's our timekeeper, so you are requesting one position. So you have a total of 8 minutes. So he'll set his timer for 6 minutes. So when you hear it go off, he'll remind you that you have 2 minutes left. Sound good?
Okay, thank you. Yes. And thank you all for listening to this request. I'm Jen Maupin, and I know that you all have a very difficult task ahead of you. We requested this position last year and we were granted the position, but unfortunately we had a failed search. So we're back again to ask if we can please fill this very important position in BMS. The Biological Sciences Department serves a large number of students. It's estimated that we serve about 944 FTES per year through our programs. And we currently have 12 full-time faculty members. We teach in a variety of subdisciplines. So biological sciences is really multiple subdisciplines in one department. We have 3 full-time faculty who focus on our biology majors courses. 4 full-time faculty help fulfill the needs of non-majors for their GE and IGETC requirements for graduation or transfer. You can see the variety of disciplines that we teach here. We have 1 environmental studies professor, and we have 4 biomedical sciences full-time faculty. One of those is Robbie, and he teaches microbiology, which is kind of a little separate in BMS. We're going to focus on anatomy and physiology and the 3 full-time instructors that we currently have there. It's important to note that these are specialized areas, and faculty in one area are not necessarily qualified to teach in another area based on their experience. For example, I am an ecologist and I have no idea what bones these are. And that's kind of a joke. But BMS is the most highly specialized area that we have. It's really hard to find qualified anatomy and physiology instructors. Heather Rose retired in summer 2019. She taught human anatomy, BMS 107, and human physiology, BMS 108. Here she is with some students at a week 0 event. This is one of our student success initiatives. Since Heather left us, we have been scrambling to fulfill the very high needs for these courses. In fall 2019, we had 3 full-time faculty that were teaching a combined 80 TLUs. So we wouldn't have to cancel anatomy or physiology sections. This semester, we did cancel a section because we couldn't keep doing that. But right now, we still have our 3 full-time remaining faculty teaching 75.8 TLUs. If you were to take that load and split it among 4 full-time faculty, they would have 19 TLUs each. This level is unsustainable, but the demand for these classes is very high. We don't want to have to cancel more classes. Why do the students need these classes? Well, they don't just need them for the degrees in our department, such as our BMS degree, but these are prerequisites or even required courses for a large number of programs at this college, including nursing, RN, ADN, and medical imaging sciences. Both require 107 and 108 as prereqs. Other BMS courses are required for HIT and medical coding, and there's a little bit of flexibility. This is BMS 100 is the human body. It all goes with anatomy and physiology. These courses supply the prereqs for these programs, and also any students who are wanting to go into the medical field, dentistry, and so forth to programs elsewhere, they need to come and get these prereqs as well. Many of our equity initiatives emphasize increasing access to STEM fields for Latinx students, and we serve these students who need these courses to meet their goal, which is often getting a good job. Here you can see data from across the college for declared majors and headcount in recent years. It's going down across the college, it's going up for those students who identify as majoring in BMS or ADN to get degrees in these areas. And we serve a high percentage of Latinx students in these courses. We have a very difficult time finding available and qualified adjunct instructors. There's a mismatch with the state MQs is required of instructors in biology to have a master's in biological sciences. And most of us who have the degrees in biological sciences, we don't know much about the human body. We weren't trained in that area. The people who know the most about the human body are often coming from kinesiology programs or exercise science or physical therapy programs. So we have a hard time finding people who meet those minimum quals and have the expertise to effectively teach these classes. Once we hire people, there's extensive training necessary. It takes a semester or more to get our faculty up to speed on our specialized equipment, lab techniques, safety protocols. We have to be able to troubleshoot while teaching these labs, especially if we want to offer on the weekends and at night. Some of our specialized equipment is human cadavers, and we have a very special program because we're a cadaver-based program. But unfortunately, there aren't any other local cadaver-based programs, so we don't have that flow of students that could come in and be potential adjunct instructors from Westmont or UCSB because they don't have programs that provide training in this area. Health fields are sometimes very lucrative, right? You could find a good job in the health sciences. So people with this expertise are often pulled away or find full-time work elsewhere. You can see from this chart, this is just BMS 100, 107, and 108, but you can look at the full data from biology or BMS at the end of the proposal that we submitted. These courses in particular are very highly efficient courses. We always over-enroll these courses at the beginning of the semester. The class size is set to 24. You can see the historical enrollments here. Basically, our instructors are trying to accommodate as many students as we possibly can, and we cannot meet the demand. We estimated that we could have added at least 40 students in BMS 107 and 108 combined this semester if we had had additional sections available. It's been higher in the past. I mean, this is COVID, everything's online. So that was even with everything being online. You can see that our fill rates are often above 100%, sometimes well above, and our wished FTEF is very high. So these programs do also help increase our college's efficiency levels and serve students. The enrollment on August 16th, everything's full. Everything was full earlier in the summer, and when we got the ad codes, we just started adding as many students as we could. By week 4, in week 4, we are often at over 105% enrollment, and that was also the case for this past semester, or this semester. This is BMS 108, this is physiology. We only offered 7 sections of physiology this fall, which was down from 8 last fall. I have to say, we've been really trying as hard as we can to accommodate all the need. We're overstretched, we're overextended, and we're still having to cut sections, and we should be adding sections of these courses. So in summary, there is a sustained high demand for BMS courses. They provide necessary support for a wide range of programs in the health sciences. Our programs and department are highly efficient and serve a large number of students who are seeking good employment opportunities. Our current full-time faculty are heavily overextended, and I do want to say a little bit about this. We have 12 full-time faculty, as I said, and they are currently teaching, this semester we're teaching a combined 72 overload TLUs. So if you just took our overload TLUs, that would be enough to fill full load for 4.8 additional full-time faculty members. This is not even counting the TLUs or the compensation that we get for non-teaching assignments. The head of CAC, the chair of CAC, Matt Kay, he's from biology. These 2 division senators, Jen and Robbie, they're from biology. We have the department chair, we have the lab coordinators. We also are involved in a large number of STEM student success equity initiatives. We love doing these. We love these things, but we're stretched too thin, and we've recently had to say no, unfortunately, to some very exciting equity initiatives. Is my time up?
Yes.
Okay. You know that adjunct instructors are hard to find, and we need to increase sections, and currently we're having to decrease them. Thank you. Thank you so much. That's my last thing I want to say. You guys are awesome.
Thank you, Jen. And there is a shared Google Doc where our senators can post questions for you, and I'll link you to that should they have questions for you.
Okay,
So
I'll keep checking it. Thank you.
Thanks, Jen. Okay, so with that, we're going to move on to our last presentation, which is from chemistry. And my colleague Eric Bullock should be here. Eric, is that you where it just says just Eric?
Oh, is it just Eric? Okay, well, let me change that.
No, it's
So first of all, greetings, senators. This is the last presentation. Now I have to tell you that I cannot, unfortunately, my camera crapped out this afternoon, so you cannot see me. And I thought I had a nice picture of Hawaii, but I don't have it here on this Zoom session. So you'll just have to put up with a blank screen for your last presentation. Sorry about that.
Eric, did you want to share your slides?
Yes.
Okay, you should have privileges to do that now, or I can do it for you.
Okay. Okay, how's that?
Yep, that's perfect.
It's good?
Yeah, Eric, Robbie will be our timekeeper today.
Okay.
You have 8 minutes, so he'll set his alarm for 6 minutes and let you know when you have 2 minutes left. Sound
Okay.
good?
Sounds good.
Awesome.
Okay, well, thank you, everybody. So I am representing the chemistry department for one replacement position. We have, in the last 10, maybe 12 years, we've had 5 full-time faculty, and Sally Gazzoni retired in June, and she had been here from 1995 to 2020, so a long time. So we've gone from 5 to 4 full-time faculty. So her main duty in the last few years was to teach general chemistry. It's a big chunk of our program. And so this is kind of a nuts and bolts type presentation. So let me get to it. Actually, I think what I'm gonna do is start with conclusions, because at the beginning, you might remember them, and you might, after all this work, you may fade off after a few minutes. So I'm just gonna start with the nuts and bolts here. So general chemistry, chemistry 155 and 156 is required for a very wide range of majors and transfers, and taught at every university and community college. The efficiency in our department is quite high because of, for a number of reasons, but it's about 600. The census fill rate is over 100% almost every semester. It's 103 or something last semester. Despite declining enrollments overall, chemistry, like many STEM courses, has seen an increase in FTES, especially for Latinx students. And really, we've never been able to meet the demand, even with 5 full-time faculty. There's a couple reasons for that. The lab space limitations, we're bursting at the seams in the physical sciences building, but also it's difficult to find adjuncts, and even harder now. So in general chemistry, the position that will be replaced, we're hoping to replace, will turns away about 100 or more students every year, which frankly is one of the worst parts of my job. So it's always been hard to hire adjuncts, and will be impossible to keep the current offerings with just 4 full-time faculty. So I would say that the chemistry program will not survive as it is if we do not get a replacement for Sally Gazzoni. All right, so what I've done is I've taken the criteria that was developed by the Academic Senate and updated last year, sort of one by one, although I didn't include all of them because there's not enough time. But one relevant one is to meet student demand. So all chemistry classes close well before registration ends, much like, as Jen Malpin was saying, for the biological sciences. We turn away many students every semester from almost every course, maybe every course. So as I mentioned before, general chemistry 155 and 156 turns away 100 students or more every semester. Chemistry is a central science, and general chemistry is required for a large range of majors and transfers. So chemistry, of course, biological sciences, engineering, geological sciences, medicine, dentistry, and other health-related fields. So it is an integral part of all science courses. So in high demand in just about any institution in the country. So The second criterion, difficulty in finding adjunct faculty. Just a second, do I really have the right order? Yes, okay. So, adjunct faculty. It's very difficult. So we used to hire UCSB graduate students. We can't do that anymore because the department at UCSB called us 2 or 3 years ago and said, it's taking away from their research time, don't do that. So we do have a difficult time. Other qualified adjuncts in the area or qualified chemists in the area to teach these classes generally have well-paying full-time jobs. Like in a lot of STEM fields, you just get better pay outside of academia. And not all hired adjuncts work out, of course, which means we have to hire more, and many stay for just a short while and move on to something else. So it is really a very difficult thing to find qualified people to teach chemistry at City College. The next criterion is unique demands by discipline. So in order to meet demands, chemistry lectures are large. 155 has 130 students in PS 101, and chemistry 156 has about 80 students in it. So labs are about 24 students each. This is where we really form the sense of community with the students. Labs need to be this small to ensure success for hands-on learning. But this structure actually yields a high efficiency of about 600, significantly higher than the traditional college-wide goal of 525 and an average of about 460. Will this program survive without this position? Not as it exists now. Due to the difficulty obtaining qualified adjuncts, the large overloads taken.
That's 2 minutes.
2 minutes, okay. Taken by all full-time faculty and the increasing demand for general chemistry, significant changes would have to be made. So reduce the sections of Chemistry 101 into chemistry, also heavily impacted already. We turn away many students. Eliminate Chemistry 104, the so-called GOB chemistry, also heavily impacted. Eliminate organic chemistry, I'm just gonna say no. It's also heavily impacted, but that makes us not a chemistry department anymore. So yes, this general chemistry position is an existential one for our department. Workload, all full-time faculty work heavy workloads, overloads. So we cannot teach more than we do now. Since we're down 20% in our full-time faculty, on the average, the other department obligations have increased by the same amount. So just the typical data that everyone is presenting, and the conclusions again. Okay, so that's it. Robbie, it's good. Do we have time for questions?
We've got just under a minute.
All right.
So with that, does anybody have a question for Eric this afternoon?
Can I make a quick comment?
Yes,
Right.
Eric.
Right now, we're down one full-time faculty position. We have 2 or 3 adjuncts teaching heavily, overloads for adjuncts. They're above their 10.05 TLUs, and of course, they won't be able to do this every semester. So we're in a crunch if we don't get Sally's position replaced.
Excellent. Thanks so much for your presentation, Eric. We
All
do
right,
have a shared Google document. Should anyone have questions for you, they'll post there and then you can answer.
Okay.
Excellent.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Thanks, Ray.
Thank you. All right, senators. So with that, that concludes our, let's see. Eric, could you stop sharing your screen so that it can switch back over? Oh, I'm sorry, Patricia Stark, did you have a question?
Yeah, Ray, I wanted to ask you if we had any timelines built into that Q&A doc. Do senators have to have their questions in by a certain time?
Yes.
So that,
Yep. So I sent that out. I sent a reminder to senators
okay.
today. It's probably sitting in your inbox. It's the exact same link to the document as before. And I requested senators to get their questions in by Friday to give the presenters a chance to answer before our own ranking next week.
Okay, thanks.
So thanks for that. And actually, a couple administrative things. I do have the sample ballots for you all. I didn't have time to post them to today's agenda. So they'll be posted to our agenda that will come out Sunday. It's also in my plan to have like a training video posted as well. So especially for our new senators or just all our senators in general, to be walked through our different ballots and the WOPAT method and things like that so that we're all on the same page. So please expect those things. But for right now, just make sure that all of your questions that you have needed to be answered are in the doc so that our presenters can answer them for you before our own ranking processes. And with that, our presentations have concluded. We're now going to move on to item 9.1 in our agenda. I'm trying to pull our agenda back up. There we go, which is a return to a previous conversation that we had, which is the expansion of public comments and participation in our Senate meetings. So this was a conversation that we initiated back in September. Ironically, we did not have time to finish it, and so we had to table the discussion. And so with our last couple of minutes now left in today's meeting, we can revisit that and hopefully come to some kind of consensus about what we want to do as a Senate. So as a reminder of our current practice, right now, the only time the public can participate in our meetings is during public comment. Sorry, family time at my house, of course. And so the discussion that we're having at Senate today and previously is whether or not we want to have non-senators participate in our discussions while we're having them as a Senate body. And with that, I will open up this conversation to you all. Should you all have anything to add? One more, Robbie, I know I just said that I would do that, but I wanted to say one more thing. Last time we spoke, the majority, maybe not the majority, I think the majority of people who offered their opinions or where they were at felt as though that our conversations at Senate should just be kept to the Senate body, while there were a few that felt as though we should be opening up our conversations to others. Robbie, go ahead.
I talk a lot at Senate meetings, and I would really like to hear from people who don't usually talk, but I'll get the conversation started by saying, as much as I don't like saying this, both because I'm a white man and because I know that upholding institutionalized white supremacy includes things like, you know, being rushed all the time and sticking to hierarchical structures and all that. Despite all that, I really do feel like the reality is that we will not get our work done if we allow our meetings to be open to the public beyond the public comment period.
Thank you for starting us off with that, Robbie. Counselor Jen.
Hi, I just want to just mention or state that I would like to keep it as it is. I am one of those people that take some time to process internally what's being discussed, and takes me a little bit to get into, I guess, a safe space to share or to ask questions. And so I just, for me, I think, and I agree with Robbie in the sense that we do spend a lot of time dialoguing, which really does help me. And I do worry that we won't get everything completed, and we always are going over as it is. So, but my thought process is just to keep it as Senate and keep with the public comment.
Thank you, Jen. Michelle?
Just wanted to voice my support of Robbie's statement.
Okay, thank you. So with that, we've heard from some folks that want to keep it the way it is. And Tara.
Thank you. I understand exactly what Robbie and everyone else is saying. And I would just like to kind of propose a kind of common ground or middle of the road kind of solution where we in Senate build into at least one of our meetings a kind of public forum where we could have an open dialogue and folks can really share with us their insights, and we can, of course, always benefit from hearing from a broader audience. I agree that it would be kind of hectic and chaotic to do that at every Senate meeting, but I think that we can make room and space for at least one Senate meeting per semester.
Tara, you inspired me. Do you want to see that happen at a Senate meeting? Well, I guess it could be a Senate meeting. Or should we be more intentional and be scheduling our faculty plenaries much more regularly?
I would say both. just to really put it out there. I think especially right now, because we're all apart, we need this now more than ever.
Thank you for that. Anna Garcia. I don't know why I said both of your names, Anna. Sorry.
That's okay. There's many Annas out there, just to be clear, everyone. I agree that every Senate meeting would probably be hectic and hard to manage, so I can definitely see the value of some sort of balance. And I also, as the adjunct representative, think it's important to share that this meeting time isn't necessarily accessible to all adjuncts, considering many of them have other kind of full-time jobs that prevent them from showing up here. So I love the idea of having, some sort of Senate setting where that, a meeting is more open, or what I've suggested before, which was inviting public comment, maybe for the discussion sections as people join the meeting, if they miss early public comment or didn't submit it or whatever. I think it could be helpful to invite public comment, especially if we're discussing something major. And then also just wanted to amplify the idea of the more regular plenaries and keeping in mind scheduling for those and having them be varied so that people can have access to them at different time.
I think the plenary is, especially in these distancing times, is something that we could definitely figure out and do for sure. Let's see, Trisha.
Yeah, actually my question's similar to Anna's. What is primarily the difference between the public comments section, which we already include in our Senate meetings, and what we're proposing here? Is it the discussion aspect that we're allowed to comment on what is being said? Is that the main distinction between kind of those two categories? That's my first part of my question.
So to answer that, right now our public comment is either at the beginning of the meeting, where you give a 3-minute statement then, or you can request for your statement to come immediately before one of our agenda items. And, but then your time is cut off. What we're discussing now, and there can be some hybrid, like Tara said, I mean, it's up to us to figure out what we want. What's being discussed or what was proposed is basically letting anyone comment at any time. So for instance, there's 26 participants with us today in the Zoom meeting. Not all of them are senators. So I'll just, mention somebody that still happens to be here. Like my colleague, Eric Bullock, is still here from chemistry. So if he had something to say right now about our item, our Senate norms would exclude him from commenting. But if we change what we're doing, he could comment along with us and raise his hand and be called on. But there can be, those are the two extremes, but we can figure out something in between for us as well.
Okay, so it sounds like, if I understand correctly, the main thing is that the difference between public comments that the way we're doing it now in the future is that they have to declare in the beginning that they want to do this. Whereas with this new proposal, a thought could occur to them as they're listening in, and they could kind of raise their hand and say, I have a comment about that. So that's the primary difference. Okay.
That's right.
Are we required to have the public comment section where we're not allowed to, that part where people say something, but we're not allowed to discuss it? Is that required, or could maybe a few of those be a more interactive?
No, it's the Brown Act. So the Brown Act does not allow us to agendize. How do I say this? The Brown Act does not allow us to discuss or include in our meeting something that's not already on our agenda, which was published 72 hours ahead of time. So that's why we still won't be able to comment on the public comment. So we'll still have to give a period for public comment where somebody from the public can come and talk about anything. They could come and sing us a song for 3 minutes, right? And we wouldn't be able to comment on that because that would be considered, agendizing something that hasn't already been established. But this is a little bit different. This is allowing, like you said, as we all are discussing, somebody to raise their hand and contribute to the conversation in that moment.
Okay. So we couldn't save time by cutting, kind of doing a substitute. You have to have the first one. Okay.
We have to have the first one because that's part of the Brown Act, right? And we still couldn't discuss something that wasn't on our agenda. So those participating would be participating about our discussion item and not something off of our agenda.
Yeah. I don't know. I just think it's really frustrating. It's like, what if in your little scenario, what if we're discussing something and, Eric had something that was really kind of important or salient to the, what we'd have to wait till the next meeting to have it done, or they would have to call you out and, of the room and say, Rayanne, can you mention blah, blah, blah. I mean, it just seems like it's sort of, there's a time aspect, but it also seems like it might be unintentionally sort of, I don't say crushing conversation or depriving us of useful information. So I don't know. I kind of am more in line with what Tara was saying, that we can have at least sometimes, in there.
I don't think could you repeat the last part? I didn't quite follow it.
Yeah. So I'm saying that it seems like that by not allowing people, at least for certain topics, maybe, to contribute at that time, we are depriving ourselves of potentially, useful or salient information. Of course, there's always the risk that, the time limit. So I don't know. Mm-hmm.
To that, I'll offer that is why our agendas are published 72 hours in advance. And it is our job as senators to get information and bring it to the table, right? That is part of our senator process and our Senate responsibilities as representatives to our divisions.
Yeah, but things like occur to you when you're, when you hear something that's brought up, then you go, oh, wait, I have information about that. And you don't know ahead of time. So yeah, okay. Well, thank you for clarifying that.
Ellen?
Sorry, clicked over to the wrong screen. A couple things. I also would support the idea of having outside of the Senate meeting, having more plenary meetings with faculty and at a variety of times, because I know for a lot of folks in ESD also, and I'm sure, people teach at this time too, like in any department, it's not necessarily possible for people to show up to Senate. And especially like you said, with everyone being remote. I think I mentioned this last time we were discussing this. I do think it would be, make it really difficult for us to get our work done if anyone could participate in any discussion to the degree that the senators could. But what I would support that I think might be a way to invite more participation in public comments is to announce that opportunity again even at the beginning of the discussion section of the meeting, maybe a reminder that if people want to make public comment at the beginning of each of those items in the discussion section, that they could. I know it's said at the beginning of the meeting, but if people aren't at the beginning of the meeting and didn't, I think just having that invitation later could be a helpful way of bringing in more voices too.
Yeah, it's definitely something we could decide upon. Let's see, the time is now 4:55, just so that we have a time check. Ruth, and then Jenny, and then Anna.
Yeah, I think it is the distinction between public comment standalone, and I agree that we should have the opportunity for them to comment throughout the entire meeting before an agendized item. Or again, the opportunity to discuss during an actual discussion. I think that would be very efficient. I've said that before, and multiple people are saying it here. And then the third potential option, which I think was brought up, was a forum within the meeting here. I think that would be problematic because things will come up that are not agendized. So it's essentially them making public comment and us just sitting back and not listening. So also combined with, I think what Anna said about the time, if we did have that open and it's just half hour of our meeting or something where people just come in and say things and we can't comment, a lot of people wouldn't be able to attend. So I am all for this idea of setting up these regular plenaries, especially given the important tasks we have ahead of us this next year.
Excellent. Jenny?
Yeah, Ruth kind of took a lot of words out of my mouth and articulated them really well. A couple of things that I just wanted to emphasize additionally why I don't favor this is I brought this up last time that we're trying to build a community. We have our community standards, and there's just a potential for people, I mean, not even on our campus, coming and being disruptive, offensive, harmful, not really caring about the cohesion of us having this actual body. I think it could be derailing, and who knows what kind of agendas could come from who knows where. And someone could just come and shout pasta, for the entire discussion. And then have, in essence, as much voice as a senator who was elected by their division to represent them with their voice. One other thought I had, though, is if we're trying to increase participation, the plenaries are a great way to go, but also, being remote, I think it could be the case that a lot of people don't know or understand how maybe Senate public comments working now that we're online, or they might be confused about like, well, how would I do that given the Zoom link? And do I have to, have some permissions? So I don't know, maybe there could be also just a reminder or like a quick video of, hey, if you want to participate in Senate public comment, this is like a quick 2-minute overview of how it's working now that we're online, in case anyone's confused. For example, sorry, just to add, like, I wasn't really familiar with the fact that you could public comment on a particular item on an agenda at that time until I was on Senate. I always thought, oh, it's got to be at the beginning, right? And so that just might be something that people unknowledgeable about Senate processes don't even know.
Yes, thank you for that. So right now we're at a discussion item. Anna and Michelle, I do see your hands. Let me just offer this before we wrap up this conversation with their comments. I'm getting this impression that perhaps a hybrid model is interesting to some folks, including more regular plenaries. So this week, this is a discussion item. So what I'm thinking is, I'm collecting all of your thoughts, I'm hearing them. I'd like to perhaps come up with a document to bring forward as an action item for our next meeting next week after we're done with our ranking, that kind of collects everybody's general ideas of more frequent plenaries for faculty participation, and also reminders for public comments throughout the meeting, and ask for them before agenda items as reminders. And then also, Jenny, one thing I can do to address your item is just when I send out the agenda, remind people of the potential for public comment and how it works, as well as that education piece. So I can do that between now and next meeting. So with that, that's on my to-do list. With that, Anna, and then Patricia.
I was just gonna throw in the idea of a possible Q&A option, or I know the chat is harder to manage, but the Q&A feature could be helpful potentially because then people could share, but wouldn't necessarily derail a conversation. That's all.
Yeah, that's something we could explore. The chat we disable so that there's not private chats because of the Brown Act, but the Q&A could be public the whole time. So let me look into that, Anna. That might be something that we could enable, at least when we're via Zoom, right? Patricia?
Yes, I want to tell you, I just can't focus with that really cute baby looking at me right now. I'm sorry, I just can't. Oh my God. And thank you for those comments. I'd actually like to move that we adjourn. It's 5 o'clock.
Excellent. I would also, is there a second to Patricia's
I
motion?
second adjourning and I second the baby comment.
Yeah, the baby is such a better treat. We get a good face shot there.
Jenny, I just want to say that I really like pasta.
It's dinner time, okay?
All right, y'all. With that, please unmute yourself and vote on the motion on the table to make it official.
Official, bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Franny.
Can I say that the baby's really cute?
Yeah, thank you, Jen.
Both of the babies are really cute.
Everybody say we're going to the beach now.
Wow.
Have fun at the beach,
Have
Franny.
fun. Bye.
Bye.
Ray, I have a question for you.
She gone.
Did she leave? Oh, okay, never mind. I'll text her. Thank you. Bye.